Well, you joined me today on a typical early autumn misty morning on the River Severn. I've selected a peg which is approximately 6 foot deep at steady flow. It's ideal for flat float. I plumbed up. There's 6 foot at 4 metres, and I go out to 10 metres, and there's still 6 foot, and it shelves up towards the middle. Now I'm going to kick the swim off with 3 bait droppers of worm and castor at 10 metres. I'm also going to drop another couple of bait droppers in at 4 metres. The initial rig is an 8 gram cralusso torpedo. There's a good flow through here, and I always like to start on a stationary rig. Let's see how we get on. When I make the torpedo rig up, I like to use ball weights rather than olivettes. I find these sit better in the flow, seem to get a better presentation using ball weights. Now, this rig today is 8 gram, so I've got that shotted up with 4 2 gram weights. There's a BB trimming shot, and then there's a kick-off of 4 or 5 number 8s. Further down between the hook and the bulk, I've got 3 number 8s, but that drop shot can vary depending on the flow. On the big floats, which go up to 40 grams, I may use a BB or an AA dropper, but today the flow is quite sedate, so I'm quite happy with 3 number 8s. When fishing the cralusso torpedo or any other flat float, you should always present it with the bulk shot above the bottom. If the weights are on the bottom, the float just won't work properly. So always have those above bottom. Today I'm fishing with the bulk 6 inches off the bottom, and I'm laying just over a foot of line and the 3 number 8s on the deck. Been a great first hour. I probably had 7 or 8 pound of perch in that time. I've had a dozen perch ranging between 6 ounces and a pound, but they never last. You always get a good initial run after putting some droppers of worm and casting in. They always tend to tail off. Now my advice is don't keep trying to plunder them. You need to do something else. You will catch more perch, but you've got to wait for the next shoal to move into the peg. So it's always worth priming the lines and then doing something else for half an hour and then having a look later on. Now I've set up here a 4.5 metre whip. There could be anything on this line. There could be bleak, there could be small dace, may even be some chublets. But this will be a good way of keeping your weight ticking over and putting fish in the net. And that's what it's all about in a match. So let's see how we get on with this. I've been feeding maggot short, so I expect an instant response. I'm catching steady on this whip. Bleak, small dace. I wouldn't say I'm catching fast, but I'm keeping things ticking over. Now you're never going to do a big weight when you fish a whip as long as this. This is a 4.5 metre with flick tip, and it is a good tool for catching small fish. But I'd rather be catching fish of this size at 2 and 3 metres. That's very difficult on the Severn unless there's almost flood conditions and there's a fair bit of water coming down. Now the rig itself is a 0.2 rig and it's strung out with some number 9 shot. Now I found out that the small fish on the Severn respond far better to a strung out rig than bolt rig. I prefer to fish a bolt rig, but you have to fish to the conditions and fish to how the fish want it. I'll keep this ticking over for probably half an hour or so, or as long as they last. I'm not expecting to catch these bleak all day. But again, I'm ticking over. I'm putting 2 or 3 pound in the net at a period of the day when I probably wouldn't have caught anything if I'd have carried on with the flat float. Little tip for you when you're catching large quantities of small fish on short whips is to use a hook with a long shank. Well, I've just spent the last 20 minutes on the edging rig, which is a 4 gram cralusso ray. Now I'm edging this down over the top of where I've been catching on the 8 gram. I'm expecting to get a few fish tailing off towards where they've backed off from the bait droppers. Sometimes you can pick up some better perch this way. So far I've only had one fish, but there's a nice perch topped on the 4 metre line, so I think it might be time to have a look at that. Instant response, nice chunky perch over a pound. It's definitely worth dropping in on that 4 metre line. Just that one big perch on the 4 metre line. So I'm out back at 10 metres now. Also ligging again with the 8 gram rig. 8 gram torpedo's been by far the best rig today. I've had nearly all the better perch stationary. Sometimes it's like that. Other days you catch them moving. Just the way it is, you have to keep ringing changes. So I think I've probably had 15 to 18 pound today. It's been a short session this morning. Really enjoyed it. This is what a lot of the Severn's about now. There are still odd pegs where you can catch big weights of chub and barbel, but they're very few and far between. These methods, small fish methods, are the way really to getting the best out of your peg now, especially if you're a match angler. But then you can get a lot of pleasure out of a couple of hours like I've done today.